Hello everyone and welcome to another review. Today we're going to review a fragrance that has been on a lot of my top 10 lists. It's appeared in a lot of lists, but I've never actually reviewed it. The fragrance is called Strellson No. 1. Now, here is the bottle. The bottle presentation is actually really pretty cool. It's got this like rubbery type of case that's around the glass bottle that's there. But if you look at it, it's very well put together, very simple. It says Strellson No. 1. The cap is magnetic, so it comes on and pops back on. And it's got this nice little logo. Now, Strellson is a Swiss designer company, and this is one of their fragrances. I believe they have 3 fragrances out, but this is the one that was released in the year of 2010. So this has been around for a while now, close to 4 or 5 years. Now, price-wise, the prices, when I originally remember them, were around $60 for the designer thing. The biggest issue with this is it's very hard to find. So I actually had to purchase the, like the gift set that came together with it, which had like a lotion, a body wash, or something like that with it too. So that's how I actually got this fragrance. And I didn't actually purchase it from the site. I purchased it from somebody else who was selling it. So you may run into a little bit of difficulty if you want to purchase this, but as you're going to see in the review, I actually think it's well worth the purchase. It's well worth the hunting for it, right? So with that, let's go ahead and get right into the notes for this fragrance. The notes of this fragrance consist of, at our top, we have bergamot, cardamom, cedar leaf, and neroli. For our mid, we have coriander, iris, jasmine, and lavender. And for our base, we have scent trek wakapao, frankincense, patchouli, and vetiver. So, let me start right off the bat. What is scent trek wakapao? Well, apparently it's this note that was created by Strellson, and it's a combination of woody and musky notes. Now, I think it was created by Strellson, not completely positive, but that's just what I read for it. So, it's supposedly a unique note. Looks like a combination, not necessarily a naturally occurring note, but it's there nonetheless. So what do you get when you spray this scent? Immediately, you may be turned off. It comes off extremely alcoholic at first, but give it a chance. Let it dry down for a good 5 minutes, and you're left with something that's a bright, zesty citrus. Now, the citrus, it's not necessarily a playful citrus. I would say that it's a very professional, a very sharp citrus, the closest citrus that I can kind of think of off the top of my head would be something close to the Isimiake Lorise type of a scent. So but it's not as sour as that type of a scent. So it's very professional. It immediately evokes the scent of like a suit and tie. Now, as the fragrance begins to develop, I would say give it another 30 minutes. It starts to bring out a nice woody type of presence. Now, by woods, I assume that it's that scent trek note, but you can also definitely tell a bit of the vetiver. Now, the vetiver is not like a bitter vetiver at all. The bitter vetiver part, I guess you could say, kind of tones the fragrance down, and the vetiver ends up turning to like more of a sweet vetiver rather than a bitter vetiver, and that kind of comprises the scent. So the woody notes will bring it up, and the citrus notes, surprisingly, will remain throughout the entire fragrance life. The fragrance lasts generally about 8 to 10 hours, so that's pretty impressive for a citrus on what it actually does. Now, the other cool thing about this fragrance is it has those notes of cardamom, and it has that neroli note as well, which kind of comes into the scent, but it has this duality to it that comes off as warm and cold at the same time that I think is really noteworthy of this scent. I've heard some people describe it as warm, some people have described it as cold. I personally think it's more on the cold side than it is on the warm. But whenever somebody says warm, I kind of feel, hey, you might be right. I do detect what you're getting from it. So it has this duality to it. Now, it's deceptively warm and it's deceptively cold. Overall, it's a very put together, very professional scent. Think of, it really evokes a suit and tie, a clean-cut guy, a guy who's well put together, and he's, just focused and ready to go. Basically, that's what this comes off as, and that's why it always hits my top work scents videos. And check those videos out; you'll see what I mean. I kind of go into it and describe those a little bit more on that. All right, so spray-wise, I go about 4 sprays on this fragrance. 4 sprays. You can't really overspray on this, although you might get this alcoholic note if you do. Occasion-wise, work. I really can't envision anything other than work. And by work, I mean you're in an office setting. You're in a setting that requires, I guess you could say, at least you be dressed up a little bit. You know, you're not necessarily, I don't want to say in rags or anything like that, but it requires a certain dress code. And, you know, people who work in the office will understand what I mean by that. And that's kind of what this gives off. Now, I mentioned 8 to 10 hours as a performance. The projection and the sillage are about average for both of them. Now, a funny thing about this fragrance, if you've ever seen the Oceans series, there's one of the Oceans, I forget which one, where Brad Pitt, George Clooney are talking to Matt Damon before Matt Damon goes out and does his thing. Sorry about that. I had a train go by, so I had to kind of, you know, resume. New location, I gotta get used to these things. So you may hear a train go by afterwards. I'm kind of gonna keep going straight. Threw me off. Either way, like I was saying, this, if you've seen the Ocean's 11 movies, or some of the Ocean's movies, in one of the movies, George Clooney, Brad Pitt are talking to Matt Damon and telling them how to be. And there's this one line that really fits for this. The one line is specifically, he says to Matt Damon, you want them to like you, and you want them to forget you in the next second, basically. And it's very similar to that. And that's really what this fragrance does. If you ask people, and this is what I've noticed when I've asked people how they smell or how I smell off of it, have them smell it, they're like, yeah, it smells great. I come back, ask them again, yeah, he smelled great. Not sure what he smelled like if you ask him what, but he smelled great. And that's really what you get from this. They're not really going to remember what the actual scent is, but they're going to remember that you did smell good. And that's really, I guess you could say, the kicker for this. And that's really why I'd like to wear this for work. I want people to think that I smell good, but at the same time, I don't want them to think that I don't want it to be tattooed in their brain. I want them to forget the scent in the next moment. Some people are not like that. That's just my personality, and that's why this one, to me, fits almost perfectly. Compliment-wise, think of this fragrance on the range of compliments. This gets a great amount of compliments, but the kicker for that is people don't remember what it smells like, and consequently, even though it's gotten compliments, I haven't had people ask, oh, man, I want to get this for my significant other, or I want to get this for myself. I haven't had that. They've said that it smells good, but it hasn't, you know, given them that extra jump. It has almost like a generic feel to it, which is a sort of a little bit of a strike against it, but at the same time, hey, I love it. Age group wise, any age group can really pull this one off. So if I'm going to go ahead and give this fragrance a rating, I give this fragrance a rating of a 9 out of 10. Why am I giving it a 9 out of 10? I think this is a perfect work scent. If you're looking for a work scent, go ahead, check this one out. But it doesn't get perfect marks because of the fact that A, this one is hard to find. You probably have some difficulty finding it, and B, the other reason it doesn't get perfect marks is it's not versatile. I only can imagine this for work, and that's it. I really don't wear this anywhere else. Tough. So that's why it doesn't get a perfect score, but I think it's still a great fragrance. So if you have any questions whatsoever, please feel free, leave a message, let me know, do whatever you gotta do. Thank you, take care of yourselves, and have a great day.